ʻdʒɛs.iː. Isai. Yishai is the father of David, who became the king of the Israelites. His son David is sometimes called simply, son of Jesse. Jesse was the son of Obed and the grandson of Ruth and of Boaz. He lived in Bethlehem, in Judah, and was of the tribe of Judah. He was a farmer, breeder and owner of sheep. He was a prominent resident of the town of Bethlehem. Jesse is important in Judaism because he was the father of the most famous king of Israel. He is important in Christianity, in part because he is in the Old Testament and mentioned in the genealogy of Jesus. Later rabbinic traditions name him as one of 4 ancient Israelites who died without sin, the other 3 being Benjamin, Chileab and Amram. Jesse is stated as having 8 sons, including David, the youngest. Among her children were the 3 sons of Zeruiah, Abishai, Joab and Asahel. One day the prophet Samuel came to Bethlehem sent by God to anoint the next king of Israel. Ostensibly, his visit to Bethlehem was to offer a sacrifice to God. He used that excuse because he was afraid that King Saul might kill him if he suspected the true reason for his arrival in Bethlehem. Samuel offered a sacrifice with Jesse and then went to his house, where he sanctified him and his family. The prophet asked Jesse to present his sons. When Samuel saw Eliab, Jesse's eldest son, he was impressed by his stature and convinced that he must be God's anointed king. However, God said to Samuel, "Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him." The Lord does not look at the things man looks at. Man look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. When Jesse presented his second son, Abinadab, God told Samuel, "The Lord has not chosen this one either." This happened again with his third son, Shammah, then his fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh sons. Finally, Samuel inquired of Jesse if he had any other sons. Jesse told him that David the youngest was tending the flock. The prophet then asked for him, waited, and when he came, God asked the prophet to anoint him as king over Israel. Sometime later, Saul, suffering from depression and melancholy, asked Jesse for his son David to play the harp for him, since he had heard that David played the harp beautifully. Jesse sent his son along with some gifts for the king. The king was so taken with David's harp playing that he asked Jesse to keep him in his court to play for him whenever he was depressed. Later on, Jesse sent his son David with gifts to be given to his older brothers who were to fight in the war against the Philistines in Saul's army. Years later, David fled to the desert away from Saul, who sought to kill David in order for him to stay in power and not have his throne be taken away from him. David, worried about the safety of his parents, went to Mizpah in Moab to ask permission from the king to allow his father Jesse and his mother to stay under the royal protection of the king. They stayed there until David's fortunes took a turn for the better. The name Jesse is referenced in the Old Testament and in particular the passages of Isaiah chapter 11, verses 1 to 3, also chapter 11, the verse 10. These are 2 of the verses regarded by Christians as prophecy of the advent of Jesus, whom they consider to be the Christ and Messiah. These 2 prophecies are regarded by Baha'is to refer to Bahala, alleged to also have arisen from the stump of Jesse. These prophecies are also regarded in Latter-day Saint movement about the coming root of Jesse, a ensign who holds special priesthood keys in a gathering of the Lord's people. Jesse in 1 Chronicles. In the book of Chronicles, the names of only 7 of Jesse's sons are listed, including David, as well as the names of 2 of his daughters, Zeruiah and Abigail. Evidently Jesse had more sons than these 7, and it is likely that he had more daughters as well. Geographical usage. The Gezer of Jesse is a plateau located just north of the valley of Jezreel in Israel, said to have been originally cleared and settled by descendants of David. Tomb of Jesse. The tomb of Ruth and Jesse is an old stone structure on a hilltop in Hebron which today serves as a synagogue. It receives numerous visitors every year, especially on the Jewish holiday of Shavuot when the Book of Ruth is read. The 1537 book Yishai Havos describes the tomb as a handsome building up on the mound, where Jesse, the King David's father, is buried. Quote, it includes a drawing of the site and notes an ancient Israelite burial ground nearby and Crusader courtyard. Rabbi Moshe Beisala wrote in his travel journal that the site houses an underground cave which connects to the tomb of Machpelah, an assertion postulated by many over the years. The site was refurbished in 2009.